how's it going? Matthew Bailey Media here, and welcome to another TV show review, and this is for another live-action TV show review, and I think I mentioned this in a couple of videos ago, but it's finally time to review the long-awaited TV show adaptation of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Now, this is only the first season of the whole show, which is based off of the book The Lightning Thief. And I gotta say, now that I've watched every episode, I gotta admit, they really did try their best to be fully faithful to the source material, where they pretty much made sure that there were no characters cut from the show that were in the book. I mean, and sure, some had like much minor scenes, and there's only one character that they actually included that wasn't in this book, but he didn't show up to the second book. But they decided to sort of give him a small role in the show, and that was Hermes, who was played by none other than Lin-Manuel Miranda, who we all know is the one behind some of the musical numbers for movies like Moana, Vivo, just to name, and he even voiced the character of Vivo. He was in Hamilton. I haven't seen the Broadway musical Hamilton, but I heard it was pretty good. And like I said, this whole show, this first season stars Walker Scobell, who we all know from the Adam Project, as Percy Jackson, who learns about his ancient Greek heritage, and then we see Annabeth and Grover, who then accompany him on a quest to return the bolt. And I gotta say, I'm so glad they decided to keep certain aspects from the book in the show, which again, a lot of these things were cut from the movie that came out back in 2010. And like certain things like Ares, the god of war, who Percy fought near the end of the book, he was completely cut from the movie. And then they made Hades the one who actually wanted the war in the movie, but in this show, they kept Ares and made him the legit villain, and they even referenced Kronos more than once, because he was sort of the main focus of the entire first book, and I love that. Now, before I go any further, one thing that somebody has been, or not somebody, but a lot of people have been worried about when it came to the show was the casting of Leah Sarah Jeffries as Annabeth Chase. Now, I know in the book she was described as a young 12-year-old white girl with blonde hair and I think what was it, gray eyes, I think, or blue eyes? I don't remember, but all I know is that she was white with blonde hair. Now, in the show, Leah Sarah Jeffries is a little young black girl. Now, I will say this one time, because I know there are certain people out on the internet, one guy in particular that I got so annoyed with, and I even made a video about him many months, almost a year ago, whose new name for his channel is completely more cringeworthy than this last one. But I'll just still refer to him as it was when I knew it, and that's Logan's Cinematic Universe, who is now known, unfortunately, as the anti-woke reviewer. Again, way more cringeworthy than his last one. But he claims he doesn't hate the actress. But by saying you hate her casting, you still hate the actress. I don't know how many times I've got to explain that to this guy who I guarantee, I haven't seen if he's posted a video today about the last episode, but I guarantee you he will, and he's probably going to immediately go with this show. But for me, it was way more faithful, a much more faithful adaptation than what the movie gave us. Again, they cut so many things out of the movie, like having Ares fight Percy, cut from the movie. Not finding out that Luke was the thief until after he returned the bolt, cut from the movie. And they made basically Luke the villain of the entire first film. They completely cut that scene they had two scenes of Gabe at the beginning of the movie, even though him, Gabe, and his mother. But when they only needed one scene, and we got that scene in the very first episode. They also cut a few other things from the movie that were in this film. Like, they completely added, and then they added some stuff that made no sense. They added the Parthenon in Nashville, never went to there in the book, but they did go to the arch. I forgot exactly where it was, but where they fought the lady who's the mother of monsters. Again, she was also cut from the movie, but in this show they featured her. And again, they kept a lot of the stuff that was in the book in this show. They didn't cut anything like they did in the movie. And what's funny too is I think the budget for this for the show was, I believe, $120 million altogether, $15 million per episode. Which, to be fair, that's only That's only $25 million more than what the budget for the movie was. And they still managed to keep everything from the book in this show. Heck, there was even one character featured in the book that they were going to possibly cut from the show because of how he's portrayed in the book, and that was Procrusteus, who had some waterbed emporium where it's a bunch of beds. They kept that in the show, which I thought was crazy that they still kept that. But this show is so much more faithful to the books, at least the first book, and I'm really hoping that they continue adapting each of the books into a season where we hopefully will get season 2. Because they've finished this first season now, I'm hoping that they start filming season 2 and get greenlit by the summertime this year, and they do the same thing they did with this season, where they finish filming by January or February of next year and release it as it gets closer to the end of 2025, because that will help with the actors not aging up too much. Because remember, Percy ages from 12 to 16, so. And right now, the actor playing Percy, Walker Scobell, is, I believe, 13 going on 14 soon. So they need to keep. Sure, he may be 16 already by the time it gets to the third season, but as long as he stays looking young enough, and his voice doesn't deepen too much, hopefully they'll be able to pull this off. So. Again, this is a much more faithful adaptation than the first movie was, and I cannot wait for them to greenlight and film season 2. So for now, let me give you my rating of the show. So because this is only the first season of the Percy Jackson show, and I'm hoping they continue it, with the first season, because it was a much more faithful adaptation to the first book, where they did not cut anything. And sure, they may have added one character that wasn't introduced until the second book in this season. I'm okay with that, especially with the guy who they chose to play him. So I'm going to give this show a 4.5 out of 5. It's not necessarily a full 5 out of 5. I mean, there were some moments that I did get a little annoyed with, but other than that, the show was a much more faithful adaptation, and I cannot wait until season 2 gets announced. So, without further ado, that's all for now in this TV show reaction or TV show review, and I will see all you guys in the next video.